Alright guys, Americans Bee here. It's February 5th today. So yep, February 5th, it's 10:30 and it is raining. The hives are looking beautiful out there, and what we are doing today is making some pollen sub. Got all my supplies, got my Ultra Bee here. 50-pound bag. I'm gonna make 2 rounds. Should give me a 100-pound total. Got my nice DeWalt mixer, paint mixer. One of the other things that I'm kind of excited about to try is these premium dry wax food wraps. They are waxed 12 by 12, and basically put them in there, fold them over. They should hold a pound each, and there's 1,000 of them. They'll last forever. Because there's 1,000, I'll probably just do 2, one on each side, just make it simple. So my recipe is a mix between Kamon Reynolds and Bob Binnie did a video on, excuse my mess there, pollen sub, and this is a combination of their two. What I have here is a cup of vegetable oil. I have 1 bag of Apis Biologics Bioactivator. Now, this is the rocket fuel that is the common name. Now what this does is this will make 50 pounds of pollen sub. So I have 2 of these bags. This is 28 grams, actually this is 30 grams of pure gelatin, and I just used the cheap stuff. And then I'm going to be doing, I got 7 pounds of water heated up, because I need to make it a 20 pounds of 2-to-1. So I have 7 pounds of water just over to consider some of this boil off. And then I have 10 pounds here, and then additional 4 pounds of sugar that I'll be taking out of there. So that should give me 21 roughly pounds of 2-to-1 sugar syrup. And then I'm going to be doing 20 pounds of this, 10 pounds of that sugar, additional 2 pounds of water. And then I'm going to use the vegetable oil basically to coat the inside of here. In the years past when I've done this, last couple of times, it doesn't, all the powder in the very crevices, because this has a little lip here, it just doesn't do a great job of mixing it down there. So I'm going to put the liquid in first, and then as it's cooling down, I'm going to put in the powder and slowly mix that in there. So at any rate, I need to mix this sugar, and this is going to be fun doing this one-handed. Remember, I need to make 20 pounds of 2-to-1. See that zeroed back out. Need 4 more pounds, which is a couple of these guys. There we go. Alright. Now, what mixer do I want to use? It's too small. Oh well, it'll be fine for now. Look at that, just because you're heating this up. If I was feeding it to the bees, I wouldn't heat it up this much, but because I'm making the pollen subs, it's alright. And you know it's done when it's clear, and that's looking pretty good. I'm going to pour in the rest of the sugar. Remember, this is a 2-to-1. So that's 2 parts sugar to 1 part water. So 7 pounds of water to 14 pounds of sugar. And you need heat or an overnight rest period if you don't have heat too, in order to mix this up well. All right, we'll let that sit. It's going to be in here. It's going to be pretty thin, but if you're not using heat, it's doable. It's just going to take forever. All right, so now what I need to do is mix up the AP Biologics in the blender with some water. I got my awesome Ninja there. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just use this one, I think. So it does call for an additional 2 pounds of water, and so I'm going to be using that in here. Got that zeroed out. Might as well just use the sugar container here. A little more. Alright, a little overboard. That's alright. From what I found is that, it's getting kind of clear. Start to see the bottom. So yeah, what I found is that it gets pretty thick and then it does dry out as it has time to dry with the powder of the pollen sub. So, alright, so we are pouring this whole thing in here, minus the desiccant pack. So what Apis Biologics did is they basically studied what the bees were bringing in and found that pollen is more than just protein. It's amino acids. This is the gelatin, and so they found that right balance in order to make pollen sub healthier for the bees, and so that way we're actually benefiting them more than just throwing protein at them. Okay, so what the gelatin does is it actually keeps the pollen sub soft and pliable, and it doesn't it keeps it moist as well. So okay, so we're gonna mix this together. Let's just do low. So that's good. Now that gelatin does need a little bit of time to set, and this is looking pretty good. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pour the oil in, and I need to swirl that around in there. And from my understanding, basically the goal of this is to help keep the pollen sub from sticking. I have my big wax melting bucket for the Ultra Bee, so we're going to get that measured out. And then I have my other sugar container that I normally store sugar in. That will work great for measuring out sugar. So I go to a store called Yarn Cash and Carry. Bring this right to the ground here and then pour it in. So I got 5.6 pounds, and let's see, my recipe calls for 10 pounds of sugar. So it should be pretty easy to do. Might as well just use this because I don't need to. Alright, there's 10. Alright, so put this off to the side and hope it doesn't fall over. Alright, the next one is the Ultra B, and it calls for 20 pounds, which 20 pounds of that is a lot of material. So this is 58% crude protein. Now let's just do it. 40 pounds. 40-pound bag, so half of it will go into each mix, which is perfect because that allows me to make 2 batches and be done with it. Not have anything left over. That's 10. 15, 19, if you guys have never smelt this, it smells like animal cookies, kind of like you get them from big bins of Costco. So we're going to take the sugar syrup, we're going to take the rocket fuel, and we already got that in there. And then once we get that in there, then we're going to start adding the, I'm going to do the, what should I do first? Probably the protein and then the sugar. And we'll see how it goes. I haven't done it this way, so don't forget my mixer. You need a heavy-duty drill because this stuff gets really thick. Here it is roughly, let's just, the pot was 3 pounds. Let's measure that real quick just to see. Make sure my math was right. Technically it calls for 22 pounds. And that's 24.2. So it's about 21, just over 21. The recipe does call for, actually get rid of this now. It calls for 22 pounds of 2-to-1, which, again, you can just measure that kind of as is. It's just take 22, divide it into 3 to get your 2-to-1. 7 pounds of sugar, 7 pounds of water, and 14 pounds of sugar. All right, so there's that. Now, from my understanding, there's no proteins in here. To me, the way I do it, combining the two methods and the way my patties have worked out the last couple years, the patties, these love them. They're easy and pliable to work with, and so pour that right in. Now hopefully what that does is it keeps all that powder from getting to the bottom and hiding in those crevices. And you just go back and forth. My head's not in the way. And it takes about 10 minutes or so. just really getting in once it starts getting thick. Getting in and trying to get this stuff to evenly mix. Now you can see just so far it's this nice dough. It's like Play-Doh, and it's very pliable, and it's got a little bit of tack to it. Let's see if I can get it closer here. Yeah, there you go. So it's like Play-Doh. You can mash it and it stays pliable like this for the life that it's in the colony. And even if you refrigerate it or freeze it, it still stays. With wax paper, do not use the butcher paper, the dry paper, because that does not allow it to hold the consistency. This is about done. This does get, you can see how thick it is. You know, it does wear on your hands, so you gotta have some nice hand grit. You can see it kind of jerks it around a little bit. That's when you know you're going to get good patties right there. That consistency right there. Yeah, it's 0. So just this container is only a few pounds, but this container right here as it sits is 60 pounds, 60.15 pounds. So when I'm done, I will weigh this and you can figure out the total. Okay, so for the sake of, I do have a back scale here so I can see as well, but I don't want that overhang. Got my paper here, and essentially just knock all this down. It's literally like, feels like Play-Doh. It rolls like Play-Doh. It feels great. Nice, therapeutic. But just take a handful. Let's see what about a pound looks like. I need to just not tear. Let's see what this is. That's 1.5. So I want to stick closer to a pound. So 0.97. So 0.99. There you go. That's 1 pound right there. So what I do want to do is I need to get some weight that I can just sit on these, like a press. Because you want these as thin as you can get. Because especially if you don't have feeder shims, if you do, it's not that big of a deal. Let's see. I mean, that's pretty thin. About a 3/8 of an inch, really. About a B space. Right there, so that's number 1. All right, guys. Just wanted to show you this real quick. I'm dipping my hands in my gloves in vegetable oil, getting a nice coat on it, and then before my gloves it started off not sticking, but then as you get a little bit more and more, it's the pollen patty sticking to my gloves and it becomes a nightmare. So nice little layer. You can scoop this up and it puts this nice layer and it looks like peanut butter. It's too much. And it doesn't stick, so your hands stay relatively clean. That's 1 pound. Pop that on. Alright, so this is 5 pounds, 0. So it'll be at 60.1. So that's what, 55 pounds roughly of pollen sub. So that's what it looks like when we're all said and done. I have to count them. Should be at least 48 or so, I'm guessing. If I went over a little bit on each one. Maybe 50. That's probably at least 50, probably 55 pounds. So, anyways, I'll get back to you. All right, so show you the last update. I am done, and it made, out of the first batch was 50 pounds. These are pound pollen patties, and the second batch, I goofed up on the recipe a little bit, so I ended up having to add, I added more water because I forgot to put the gelatin in, and so I added, by the time I was all done with that, it was probably a few pounds of water. But anyways, I ended up adding about, I don't know, another 10 to 15 pounds of sugar, and then an additional, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 pounds of flour to help thicken it up, because it was pretty soft and runny. So anyways, all that got me about, it was, well, exactly 50 out of the first one, and then 75 out of the second round. So 125 pounds of pollen sub, and I don't think the flour is gonna make a difference as far as, you know, with the bees. Though it's just a filler, they'll do just fine with it. And then just plain white flour, nothing special. And then also the extra sugar doesn't hurt. So, all right, American Spee, and have a good one.